Hey everybody, how you doing? All right, welcome to another drum instructional. Hope you enjoyed last week's, by the way, drum cover. Also, I got some cool stuff coming up in February. We're going to take a little break from the drum instructional for a couple of weeks. Anyway, this week's instructional is about being locked in with yourself. Locked in with yourself. This is something that the 80-20 drummer guy talks a lot about, and I agree with him. I don't agree with him on a whole lot of stuff, but I agree with him on this. This is more important, that you are locked in with yourself. I believe even that you have some kind of perfect metronomic time. And I'm going to preface that by, you know, even he was doing a little audition thing, Mr. 80-20 drummer, where he pretended to audition for Sting, you know, and he was trying to match Vinnie Colaiuta, and he was having trouble because Vinnie likes to play a little ahead of it. You know, he doesn't rush, but he plays a little ahead of the beat. Steve Gadd likes to play a little behind it. Ringo will come up a little bit during the choruses and drop it down again during the verses. John Bonham had that famous John Bonham lope where he sort of like took a little longer time from between 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 than 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. But all of these guys, any drummer worth his salt, is locked in with yourself. When you are locked in with yourself, let's take Stuart Copeland even. When you are locked in with yourself, the band has to play with you because you are placing that beat. Here it is. Paul McCartney, and I got the clip. I got a clip of something like that. There was another one that I couldn't find where he talks about Ringo made you play with him. But I'm going to post one right here. I'll post it somewhere.
And then one night our drummer, Dan, Pete Best, wasn't available. And so Ringo sat in. I remember the moment. I mean, Pete was great, and we had a great time with him. But me, John, and George, God bless them. Yeah. Me, John, and George were on the front line singing, as we usually were. And now behind us, we had this guy that we'd never played with before. And I remember the moment when he started playing, and we started playing. I think it was like Ray Charles, What Did I Say? And most of the drummers couldn't nail the drum part. It's a little bit crazy. It was a little difficult to do, but Ringo nailed it. So, yeah, Ringo nailed it. Woo. And I remember the moment, just standing there and looking at John, and then looking at George, and the look on our faces was all like, fuck him. What is this? And that was the moment, you know, that was the beginning, really, of the Beatles. Anyway. It was just so beautiful. You're playing with Ringo, because as all the other drummers say, it just is something so special. I mean, when he's playing behind you, you see a lot of these bands, when they're playing, they're looking around at the drummer like, you know, is he going to speed up? Is he going to slow down? You don't have to look with Ringo. He's there. You know, he's just yeah.
Somewhere.
Anyway.
So you can see that what Paul said, you knew he was there. You knew Ringo was there. And the quote that I couldn't find was when Ringo played, he forced you to play with him because he was locked in, because Ringo was locked in. Let me use this quick illustration, and then we're going to talk about what it means to be practically to be locked in, mechanically. When you're locked in with yourself, that means your 1 is together, your 2 is together, your bass drum's not a little ahead, your hi-hat's not a little behind, all that kind of stuff. Case in point, little side note, when Pete Best was with the Beatles, he wasn't locked in with himself. When you listen to those old recordings, his hi-hat and his bass drum and his snare weren't always together. So Paul, George, and John didn't always know where to put it. They didn't know where to put the beat. But when Ringo played, even if he was pushing a little or pulling back a little bit, you knew where he was putting the beat and you could lock right into him. So if you're locked in with yourself, then the bass player can lock in with you, and then the guitar player, and so on and so forth. And even Stuart Copeland, notorious for rushing, right? Rushing live, notorious. He admits it himself. Stuart's great. I love Stuart. But, you know, Stuart was a force to be reckoned with. He was a super strong player. And strength, I'm not talking about loudness. I'm talking about playing deliberately with an authority, right? Because when you play one, your bass drum and your hi-hat or whatever you're hitting is together. 2 is together. 3 is together. 4 is together. Even if you're pushing or pulling a little bit, that happens. That happens. Now, should you endeavor to have a really good time? Yes. But what's more important is that you are locked in with yourself, and the bass player can lock in with you. Even if you're a little on top of it, like Vinnie Colaiuta or Steve Gadd, he's always a little behind it, right? That's fine. They're locked in with themselves, and the band plays with them. They play with them. So let's talk about that. I believe being locked in with yourself, all the greats had good time, not perfect time. I consider Stuart Copeland one of the greats. He did not have perfect time. No, he had good time, and he pushed or rushed live. He admits that. But he was locked in with himself and presented a good foundation for the band to play with him. So that Sting and Andy would interpret the time the way Sting was interpreting the time. Even if Sting was getting angry because he was pushing a little too much. Right? So this is what Paul was talking about in that little clip I showed you. Anyway, let's go to it. How do you make it so that you are not like Pete Best, that you are locked in with yourself, that your ones are together, your twos, your ands, that you are playing, at least within a certain amount of reason, together. Off to the drum lab. Here we go. Right now. See you in a second.
Secret ingredient. A woman's tears. Ooh, that's mighty powerful stuff.
All right, everybody, we're back. Hope you enjoyed last week's drum cover and that fast swing stuff. Like I said, I never felt I did that great, but I thought I did a good job on that one. I thought I did. Anyway, we're talking about locking in with yourself. And there are no really good... There's nothing you can really do that's like, okay, do this thing, and you're going to lock in with yourself great. There's nothing like that, really. But there are several exercises that will head you in that direction. You know, I'm going to put you on the road and you can branch out, especially if you're in that area where you're a good player, but sometimes when you're playing, you're just not locked in. You're not locked in with yourself. And again, I'm going to say this a couple times in this video, it is more important that you are locked in with yourself than you are some kind of metronome. I can we can go to drummer after drummer who maybe push a little. Now again, if a song is at 100 beats a minute, when it ends, it shouldn't end at 120. But, you know, if you're vacillating between 100, 101, 99, that's okay. That's okay if you're locked in with yourself. Locked in with yourself. You know, and drummer Stuart Copeland, John Bonham, Gadd, they all moving around just a little bit. I'm not talking crazy. Like I said, we're not talking about 7 clicks. We're talking about a click here and there, 2 clicks here and there. Things move around a little bit, but they're locked in with themselves.
No. You insulted them a little bit. You got a little out of order yourself.
No, I didn't insult them. I didn't insult them.
Themselves. So the 80-20 drummer talks about this as a way to help you lock in with yourself. And he talks about the Samba pattern. So he's doing this. Making sure that your do1 here and your do one here are together. And you can do it the upbeat way, which is this. And he's not right, he's not wrong about that. He's right about that. That helps. We're going to take that a step further because that doesn't really do the whole trick. And I'm going to have part 2 to this video on my new Patreon site. I don't know if it'll be up this week, but it should be up by next week. Then part 2 will be up on Patreon. Look for that. I might actually do a special video just introducing the Patreon part 2. All right. Because I got a big thing coming up, and I may not be able to put out a video next week, but I'll put out at least about the link for part 2 if I can. So, here is an exercise you can do to begin to lock in with yourself. So what is the way? And remember, another way of thinking about locking in with yourself is to play deliberately. Play with authority so the band knows where you're putting the beat. There is no question in their mind. Your ones are together, your twos are together, your threes are together, and so on. Right? You know where they are. So, the goal here is, I'm left-handed, so for me, the goal is to have my left and my right hand, my strong hand and my weak hand, both being able to play with my bass drum and hi-hat with my feet, my left foot and my right foot, together, in sync, right? There's not this little nanosecond flamming between my feet and my hands, right? If you're right-handed, the same thing is true. You want both your strong hand, your right hand, and your weak hand to be able to play with your bass drum or your hi-hat foot simultaneously, no flamming, and just being able to nail those downbeats when necessary so the band knows where you're putting it, right? And if you can play with that kind of authority, that kind of deliberateness, all I can think of is bam 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 bam. Come on, I'm with you. I know. Anyway, you know, I'm not getting much sleep lately. My car's still in the shop. I haven't had my car since Thanksgiving! So please, if you like this and you want to go to Patreon to see part 2, I'm going to make it cheap, like 99 cents, but I need like 1,000 of you to do it. All right. So, thank you very much. All right, so here we go. Here's the chop. Let me get my pad. I don't know why I took it off in the first place. Here's the chop. It's going to be 16th notes. I'm going to start on my right hand for you. I would normally start on my left hand. And we're going to do a paradiddle at the end of the bar, switching hands, right? So this is the basic chop that you're going to put your feet under. So it's 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E. So I'm going back and forth from hand to hand. Now when you practice this for real, you should do it with a metronome, and you should also do it 4 bars at a time. I want to save time in the video, so I don't want to go through now, but you should do 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E. You should do that for 4 bars. On the last bar, add the paradiddle, switching your hands, right? Why? Because that sets a pattern in your brain. It sets those neurons firing, a pattern of neurons, and then you got to break the pattern and reform a new one. And believe me, I know from years of experience, it is easier to do hard little patterns, a bar, 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 switching hands and things like that, than it is to go 4 bars, switching your pattern and do another 4 bars, because your brain's neurons line up to fire. The communication sequence has begun, and then you got to break that sequence and start a new sequence. So, let's do this with our feet now. Let's add our feet, okay? And let me show you step by step. I don't know what level you're at. If you're coming out of being a beginner, you're just starting to play around and you don't feel super together or locked in, I'll give you a nice simple version, and we'll take it in 3 steps. Very simple, and then, you know, a little harder, then a little harder. All right, I gotta set the camera, be right back, although you won't notice anything. All right, here we go. So step 1, we're gonna do that same pattern we did on the pad, right? And first we just want our foot, our bass drum foot, to line up with our weak hand and our strong hand. I'm going to start this with my right hand for you. And actually, you'll be surprised, just starting this little line with my right hand is harder for me than starting with my left hand, even though I'm going to be switching throughout. So watch, here we go. Starting with my right hand, I'm going to just put my bass drum right on it. Metronome, by the way. I don't want to set it all up. I want to kind of get this done. I'm really busy trying to make enough money to fix my car. So again, speed is not essential here. You should try to push it faster than I just did it now, but the idea is that bass drum is lining up with my right hand, then it's lining up with my left hand, then lining up with my right, then lining up with my left. Now, keep going with that. You can add the hi-hat, you know, both your feet doing the same thing. That's a good idea. But I like to go to upbeats on the hi-hat, right? Watch. Again, I'll go nice and slow, and then I'll do it a little faster. Years, when I do it with my right hand, leading with my right like that, it never feels as smooth and as comfortable as with my left. Even after 50 years, it doesn't. And I don't do this all the time, especially when I'm playing out and I'm really busy like I am right now. All right, so let's continue. Let's continue. So you can see that, right? And again, you want to get that definitely a little faster eventually, but you're more interested in listening to are your hands lining up with your feet, right? Because speed, and Jesus said this, by the way, speed covers a multitude of sins. If you're going too fast...
I think it was blessed are the cheesemakers.
What's so special about the cheesemakers?
Well, obviously, it's not meant to be taken literally. It refers to any manufacturers of dairy products.
You know, you want to be on the honor system with this stuff. I mean, be honest with yourself. If it's not lining up, slow it down and get it right. Get it right. Now, the final goal, and this I will do at the end a little faster. Nice and slow, I want to put the Samba pattern in my feet. Let's just start with my bass drum, right? Here we go. I'm going to do this. See what I'm doing? I've got, and even I think the first 2 beats I messed it up or whatever, but, so that's the idea. I've got that, you know, eat one time around, the first bar around, it's doing this. The second bar around, it's doing this. And that's what you want to get comfortable, right? But that, don't stop there. Let's add that hi-hat. I'm going to stay doing this right-handed, and then I'll finish it up doing it left-handed a little faster so you can see. So here, starting with my right hand, here we go. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't perfect, and actually it's a little harder to do it slower than faster. So here's a little quicker version of it. So you can see once you get it going, it's kind of cool. It's something I would use in a solo really, but it's going to help you lock in. It's going to help you when you're playing this. So that you're all lined in with yourself, and the band knows where you're putting the beat, and they can play with you. And believe me, they are so happy with that, that even if the tempo pushes a little or pulls a little, because look, time in a band is a group effort. It's not just one guy. But if something pushes or pulls a little bit, but it's together, they're going to be happier. So watch when I do this now with just, I'm going to lead with my left here first, and I'm going to do this a little quicker. Here we go. So even still, it feels just a little bit, even at that tempo, which is a little more relaxed for me because I'm used to playing this at a higher tempo, it's still a little awkward even when I'm leading that with my right hand, even after all these years of playing. And again, I wouldn't do it a bar and a bar and a bar and a bar. I would do 4 bars, 4 bars, 4 bars, 4 bars. It's a little harder. Anyway, look for part 2 of this. It's going to be a much more advanced. It's for you advanced guys. You gotta use professional, semi-professional. I love the word semi-professional, by the way. I love the word semi-professional. You know, it has dirty connotations in here. I can't say it because of YouTube's new rules, but add your own dirt. All right, so let me just take you out with this. See you on the next one. We got some cool stuff coming up. Look for the Patreon link that I'm going to begin to put in my descriptions for more stuff. Don't worry, guys, it'll be cheap, but if you can help at all, please do.